you remember this one? Remember that color?
Most parents want the best for their children so they can grow up and make the world a better place.
And what does that say?
Michelle Antoine, a mother to 8 kids, is no different. It's a priority her kids learn Spanish, despite the family not being of Hispanic descent.
It's about experiences, and it's about exposing them to a lot of different things, a lot of different people, different cultures, different ideas.
Managing a household this big is no easy feat.
You learn very quickly you're not going to control everything, and you can't control everything, so you just manage the best you can.
What Antoine can at least try to control is her kids' education.
At the college level, it should be free thinking, open thinking, lots of speakers, lots of ideas.
Something she believes should not be the learning environment for grades K through 12, especially when teaching about race.
The public school system does not have the right to build the moral character of the children it receives. You know, that's parents' job.
Antoine wants history taught through empirical facts, or facts relying on observation or experience. She doesn't agree with this.
The idea is that the individual, the marginalized person, has perspective to understand the dominant culture, and therefore their storytelling is more important than the evidence of the dominant culture.
Especially problematic, she says, is teaching kids that institutional structures in America at their foundation are discriminatory, not the individual and their individual choices.
We can't say that because you're white that you oppress black people, or because you're black you are oppressed. To say to a black person you're oppressed, you're always going to be oppressed, and the system is set up to fail you, is also not a good message. I mean, you're telling them you can't win no matter what you do, just based on the way the system is put together.
Carson Washington, a Duke University PhD student, disagrees. He says if both the individual and the structure are discriminatory, why only teach one?
It's important for us to challenge those perceptions, to think about why we have classified and categorized people based on the color of their skin, and what and who. What is there to gain and who gains it?
Washington has 4 kids who are biracial.
They're kind of thrown between 2 identities.
And says whether you teach kids the structure is discriminatory or not, things will continue as is.
How they will be treated will depend on, how they are perceived.
He says history, the way it's written and taught, is already subjective.
Who is making history? Who's telling the story?
And the story of someone from a marginalized group witnessing that history brings with it a valuable, diverse perspective.
We can't erase cultures of people. We can't erase histories of people. We can talk about those histories, and we have to deal with those histories.
Both Washington and Antoine agree. What kids learn now will shape the future. Antoine worries grouping people by racial differences instead of their individual identities will only make things more divisive.
There's been many, many bad things that have happened in the United States. There's no doubt about that. But we have been able to correct. We've been able to make it a more just society for people living here.
Washington, however, says drawing attention to those differences will make the world a better, more tolerant place.
The same children that we're educating from 9th to 12th grade will become police officers, will become EMTs, will become construction workers.
And he says if race is already a made-up concept that we use, why not give kids the tools to better understand and describe their experiences and the experiences of others?
Let's say a cop pulls over someone who is not from their people group. Wouldn't you want a cop to know that they're meeting someone who's different, who has different beliefs, different cultural practices? So perhaps they can not misread the conversation as disrespect.